Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode 127 of the show, and before we get started, we're going to do a bit of house cleaning real quick, because, well, you guys know that we like to do house cleaning here anyway, so, you guys already know what to expect. I'm just saying that now, because I'm in a good mood, but at the same time, I'm also a bit salty about what we're going to talk about today, because I'm not a happy camper, I'm just being honest. I'm not a happy camper right now. But talking about house cleaning real quick, because we got to get that done. Thank you guys for coming back and listening to the show. It really means a lot to me that you guys constantly keep coming back and you keep listening to these episodes, you keep downloading these episodes, you constantly keep sharing them, and it really does mean a lot to me. You guys keep doing that. At the same time, I want to thank you guys for hitting us over 1,850 total downloads. Yes, I think that's right. 1,850 downloads. I thank you guys so much for that, because it really does mean a lot to me. You guys have gotten me to that milestone. I still want to get over 2,000 before the end of the year, so hopefully we can push that. I also want to say, I think pointing out a bit of the obvious, you can obviously tell I'm using a different microphone this time around. I am using the Shure SM7B. I know you guys have seen this microphone with any popular streamer or podcaster. They always use this microphone because it's considered an industry standard. Granted, I got a really good deal on it, so that's the reason why you see me with this microphone in my possession. And, well, I also know how to drive this microphone properly, because there's a lot of people that, honest to God, do not know how to use this microphone properly, and lucky for me, I do. So that's why this thing is going to sound great, and you guys are going to get to enjoy the wonders of me having this microphone and using it for the show pretty much, and also some little side projects I'm working on, so stay tuned for that. I also want to say thank you guys, specifically my Patreon backers, because you guys have continued to support me. You've continued to be there for me. You guys have continued to be awesome. Even though it's one person, I still thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot to me that you constantly keep going back and you keep, downloading these episodes. You keep sharing them. You obviously keep backing me financially, and obviously you're great. To be honest, the Patreon backer, you're great. And if you want to become a Patreon backer, the link is in the description down below. It's only $2 a month. You get early access to the new episodes. And overall, in time, we will be adding new benefits to the Patreon backers to make it more enticing. But for right now, we're slowly figuring things out, slowly but surely. To be honest, we are. And I think that's pretty much all I have. If you guys just want a quick update, I'm actually doing well. This week has been really nice. To be honest, it's a bit hectic after Labor Day. It definitely is. As a floor manager, it's a bit hectic, a little bit. I will also say classes are not being a pain in the butt so far, but things are going well. Obviously, you can tell my room. If you can tell outside, it is a lot colder outside, and I'm freezing my butt cheeks off. So yeah, it's cold as a mug, not gonna lie. But aside from that, now it's time to go into today's episode, because we got a lot to talk about, and I'm kind of salty. Look, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I am not the most happy to talk about this. I wouldn't say this is me being objective, but at the same time, I also understand that this comes off as a really shitty situation. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's kind of shitty, but that's why we're here to talk about it, because it's kind of my job, and you guys like it when I talk about stuff. So yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the 35th anniversary of Mario. And if you guys aren't familiar, this past few days, or about a couple days ago really, Nintendo did a stream showing off the 35th anniversary of Mario, because it celebrates 35 years of Mario. And it was all fine and dandy. You know, everything was great. All the merchandise was cool. And everything they showed off was cool. And they ended the stream by showing off Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and then also showing off Super Mario Galaxy. If you guys don't know, those are some of the 3 most popular 3D Mario games ever made. I know a lot of people really love Sunshine. A lot of people love Mario 64. A lot of people really love Galaxy. I personally like Galaxy 2 more, but that's a different story. But they are still considered 3 of the most popular 3D Mario games ever made, and that's why it's called, 3D Mario All-Stars. And it's celebrating the 35th anniversary of Mario. That's all fine and dandy. I think that was great. It was only a matter of time before Mario 64 made its way to the Switch. It was only a matter of time before Sunshine made its appearance again. And it was more than welcome that we got Galaxy, because a lot of people were waiting for a Switch port of Galaxy and Galaxy 2. And that's all fine and dandy. However, yes, all 3 games are for $60. I think that's cool. I think for $60, that's fair, especially if you think about the games all together. I think that's fair, charging $60 for them. That's all fine and dandy. The main problem that comes into play here is the whole situation with how this game is being released. So yes, there are pre-orders up, so you can go pre-order the game if you want. However, this game will only be available until March 31st of 2021. So it's a limited release. Okay, that makes sense. I get it from a physical. I don't agree that companies do that with physical releases, that they make something a limited release, especially if it's a game. I think that's kind of dumb, but I think it's, on some level, I say it's fair and it's understandable. But the fact that they're also making the digital edition a limited release as well, it ruffles some feathers, not gonna lie, Chief. Like, this definitely pisses off a lot of people, because a lot of people aren't happy about that. A lot of people are not okay with Nintendo deciding to be like, hey guys, F you, we're gonna make a digital game. There's unlimited copies of a digital game, a limited release, and it will be removed off the eShop and store shelves by March 31st. In my mind, when I heard that, specifically the physical editions, I'm like, scalpers are gonna have a field day with this, because if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, scalpers are gonna do this stuff, like, regardless. Like, you have to keep in mind the 3000 series NVIDIA graphics cards are coming on September 17th. The 3080 launches on that day. I guarantee you scalpers are gonna buy up a large sum of them and then sell them on eBay for close to like $2,000 a piece for each card. So I don't like it. I don't think being a scalper is a good idea. In my opinion, you're kind of a piece of shit if you do it. But I get why a lot of people are going to do it, because the game is a digital release, and by the time March 31st comes around, most people are just going to hold on to it. They'll probably keep a copy for themselves, and then they'll just buy extra copies, sell them, wait till March, and then flip them for like, what, over 100? Like, right now, there's already people on eBay that don't even have the game. There's people on eBay right now that don't even have the game and are selling it for $100, and they don't have it, and they're just putting up listings like, oh, we have the game, $100, and I'm like, yeah, that's a scam. That's a lie, because you don't have the game. And I'm kind of mad, like, okay, I was okay with the game, being $60, because like I said, that's fair. I was okay that they didn't really do much to, improve Sunshine 64 and Galaxy. Like, there wasn't actually any improvement in graphics or graphic fidelity, or any improvement of performance. Like, I get it. Sunshine got expanded into the 16:9 aspect ratio, or 16:9 aspect ratio. And I get it that, 64, you didn't really want to touch it so much, because, a lot of people really love 64 and they don't want anything changed. Even though when 64 got shown up, I was like, good Lord, people are going to have fun exploiting the hell out of this game again. Because I'm like, it's not like Mario 64 has a shit ton of exploits. And same thing with Sunshine, same thing with Galaxy, but every Mario game has their exploits. Let's just be clear and honest, but they do. And in my opinion, what really pissed me off the most, more than anything, had to be the fact that they went down the route of making the physical and the digital edition like limited run. I think that was a terrible idea. Like, yes, I get it. Some people draw comparisons to like the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, yes, but those are meant to be consoles that are sold as collector's items. It makes sense that they're going to be limited. Like, it makes sense because they're special consoles to commemorate, you know, this original console. That's why they're, you know, they're classics. They're small, they're mini, and they're meant to be collector's items. And yes, they weren't super expensive, but doing it with a video game, I think, is a terrible idea in the grand scheme of things, because not only are you making scalpers benefit from this entire situation, but at the same time, you're also going to be limiting people that don't even get to play this game. Like, there's people that like collecting the physical versions of games. That's just a cold hard reality. Like, there's people that don't like buying digital games, and that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's a lot of people that prefer having the physical game because of, say, reasons like, say, the developer, or say the system dies, or I wouldn't even say the system dies, but say something happens where licensing, and if you have the game digitally, you aren't able to keep it anymore, even though you bought it. Or, for example, like even the physical versions, there's a benefit to the physical versions in that sense that, you know, even if the game goes, you know, kaput and it gets removed, just like MVC2 back in the day, then as long as you have the physical, you're fine, because you're able to play it because you have the physical game and it works. But all the digital editions will get pulled, and I think that's really scummy, because I remember the situation when it came to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where it was a very popular game on the 360, it was a very popular game on the PS3, and it got pulled because of issues going on between Marvel and Capcom. And as a result, you know, we don't get to have that game anymore. And anybody that has it is one lucky SOB. Because personally, like, in my personal opinion, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is my favorite Marvel vs. Capcom game ever made. Don't at me. And yes, I think it's still better than Ultimate 3, and definitely better than Marvel Infinite, for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, for sure. I think MVC2 was just pure utter hype, but it's the same situation where the game is going to get pulled from the store, even the digital edition, which I think that's really stupid. Like, in my opinion, this is not a good look for Nintendo. And yes, I get it. Recently, they also showed off stuff like, you know, the new Hyrule Warriors, for the new game that basically takes place 100 years before Breath of the Wild, which a lot of people love Breath of the Wild. They consider it the greatest Zelda game ever made. And now you're going to give us the backstory to that game. A lot of people are excited. And Nintendo obviously hasn't been the best. Like, think about it. Like, we haven't gotten any news for Bayonetta 3. We haven't gotten any news for Metroid Prime 4. We haven't seen anything good come from Pokemon, even though, yes, on some level, I still love Sword and Shield, but I'm being objectively honest. Yes, it wasn't the best Pokemon game. It was definitely, it left a sore, or I wouldn't even say a sore eye, but it left a sour taste in a lot of Pokemon fans. To be honest, it left a sour taste in all their mouths. And the fact that Nintendo, besides the Hyrule Warriors game, doesn't really have much coming. And I get it. Like, the Mario game is still going to sell like hotcakes because it's Mario. Like, everybody knows Mario games always sell well, especially because you're telling people Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy all for one game, all in one cartridge. People are going to buy that. They're going to buy it up and they're going to eat that shit. Like, they're going to eat it up. And that's just a cold, hard reality. I still think it's a super shitty move. But at the end of the day, does it really matter? Like, I know a lot of people can go on the internet complain that, like, Nintendo, you guys don't exactly make the wise decisions all the time. Like, let's just be clear here. Nintendo, in terms of return policies, is still the worst out of all of them. Like, Sony, the fact that Sony's better than them is already depressing enough. But the fact that you have Nintendo not really having the best return policy, not coming off as the most consumer friendly, and given the new generation of consoles are coming, that Nintendo has nothing to really compete with Sony and Microsoft, which I still think that's kind of dumb, in my opinion, personally, that Sony doesn't really have anything to compete with Microsoft and Sony. Like, the fact that Nintendo doesn't have anything to compete with the Xbox Series X, the Xbox Series S, or the PS5 is concerning, especially because this is a new generation of consoles, new hardware, and I get it. You can't really push the Switch to that kind of level because of how it's designed. You just can't. I know you can push these mobile NVIDIA chips to the limit, but the cold hard reality is, what are you going to do? Like, I get it. Microsoft and Sony don't really have many games coming right now, specifically Microsoft, because like I said, the Series X isn't launching with anything. And then it's even funny because PlayStation hasn't even showed anything for Spider-Man, and that's the launch title. So, like, I get it. Nintendo has some good games coming. Not gonna lie. Like, that is just objective truth that they do have a good amount of games coming. That's just the cold hard reality. The problem is that with these anti-consumer anti-consumer policies, like the return policy being incredibly crappy, like, hooray, you can return a game you pre-ordered a couple days before it comes out, but if you play it, you can't return it. RIP. Steam and Microsoft set the industry standard. Like, a lot of people have said this multiple times. Microsoft and Steam have set the industry standard for how return policies will work. You can buy a game. You can play it for a couple hours. If you don't like it, you can get your money back. No questions asked. And in my opinion, Nintendo doesn't really seem to be making a lot of good decisions now. Yes, I get it. They're still making good games. I'm not going to lie. I still love their games. Like, I still have my Switch. My Switch is right here behind me. Like, you can see it right there. Like, it's clearly visible. Like, right there. Like, it's right there. But I am not the most pleased with Nintendo right now. I still do not think this is a wise decision. I do not think this is a healthy look for them, because at the end of the day, like, the next generation of consoles are coming. Like, I still think the Switch is going to do well, because the Switch arguably is considered one of the most popular consoles of all time. And I agree, because I have one. But if I'm being objectively honest, I'm not the most pleased with their policies on how they're doing things, how they're treating some IPs. The fact that, like I said, this Mario game is being limited as a digital release, which makes no sense. It's a digital game. There's unlimited copies. And the fact that they're making it a limited run, which, granted, I will be honest. I'll be dead honest with y'all. I know why they're doing this. Like, they're gonna launch the N64. They're gonna launch the N64 on the Switch Online service, and the flagship game is gonna be Mario 64. So that way you can say subscribe to the online subscription to the Switch. That's exactly what's gonna happen, because think about it, the Switch it doesn't really have the Virtual Console. When they add the Virtual Console for, like, the full-blown Virtual Console, they're gonna do something to get you attracted to the N64 lineup, and the greatest game that came out on the N64 was considered, Super Mario 64. It was considered one of the greatest Mario games ever made, because it's still an incredibly fun game, even though it's not the most graphically appealing nowadays. But it's still considered one of the greatest Mario games ever made. And Mario makes a ton of money. I grew up with Mario games. Like, I grew up with my DS playing Super Mario DS. I grew up with playing Super Mario 3D Land. I grew up with Mario Galaxy, Mario Galaxy 2. I grew up with a lot of Mario games. I grew up with Mario Kart. I grew up with Mario Party. I grew up with a Wii. I grew up with a Wii, for Christ's sake. Like, there's so many things, like I said. Mario is such a big name, and to me, it kind of sucks them treating it this way, Especially because this is 35 years of Mario. Like, 35 years of this character basically existing. 35 years of an incredible lineage that these games have made, that they always provide so much joy and pleasure to a lot of people, that they always end up making great games. Like, Mario Odyssey was a phenomenal game. It almost won Game of the Year. I personally thought Mario Odyssey should have got Game of the Year over Breath of the Wild. But that's so crazy that not even Mario, but Nintendo had 2 Game of the Year nominees in the same year. Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. And Mario Odyssey was incredible. Like, it was definitely an amazing tribute to Mr. Iwata after he passed. And a lot of people were happy with Mario Odyssey because it was amazing. It was a phenomenal game. It was near perfect. And a lot of people loved it. Same thing with Breath of the Wild. A lot of people consider Breath of the Wild one of the best Zelda games ever made. They consider it a perfect game. And I'm personally in the boat where, like I said, Mario always will hold a special place in my heart, to be honest, because I grew up playing Mario games. That's just the reality of my story, is that I grew up playing a lot of Mario games. And to me personally, it sucks seeing how Nintendo is handling this, because this isn't a wise move. This isn't a healthy direction to do this, especially for the 35th anniversary of Mario. Like, it sucks, to be honest. In my opinion, it's dog shit. Like, that's just easiest way I can put it. It's dog shit. And we can't really do much. I know we can tell the consumer to vote with their wallets, but the cold hard reality is people are still going to go out and buy this. Scalpers are going to go out and have a field day buying all the copies, and then they're going to make a ton of money later. Like, it's actually kind of funny because one of my friends made a joke that it was going to go out and buy copies and basically just scalp them. And to me, it's shitty doing that. To be honest, it really is. Like, I don't agree with it. I never will. But I do understand why people do it, but I still don't think it's a good idea, you know? Like, that's just my opinion. I do not believe that it is a good idea. That's just my opinion. I don't. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, or even just hit me up on my social media. Like, how do you guys feel about this? You know, does this piss you off? Does this, you know, are you still going to buy it regardless? Are you going to try to get a copy? Like, are you even happy with the 3 Mario games they picked? Like, personally, I still think it should have been Galaxy 2, but I get why they did Galaxy. I'm not going to be surprised if Galaxy 2 finds its way onto the Switch eventually, because, you know, granted, a lot of people are saying that they want an anniversary collection for Zelda, which people are saying they should put like Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and, you know, Ocarina of Time. But, you know, who knows what they're going to do. But let me know what you guys think down below. If you like today's episode, leave a like, leave a dislike, you know, just let me know how you feel. If you haven't subscribed yet, you can click the subscribe button and become a subscriber. And also you can click the notification bell so you can get, you know, notified when these things go live. And if you're listening on Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, thank you guys for coming back and listening. It really means a lot to me. You guys constantly keep coming back and you keep listening to these episodes. Like I said, you keep downloading them, you keep sharing them, you keep listening. And I hope you guys enjoy, to be honest. Like, I hope this was at least a little bit enjoyable, hearing me rant a little bit, but also give you guys insight on how I feel about this and why I just am not the most pleased with how the situation is being handled personally. But let me know what you guys think down below, or even on my social medias. You guys know how to find me. If you guys are interested in becoming a Patreon backer, like I said, the link is down below. But I love you guys to death. Please continue to be safe. Continue to take care of everyone around you, because I know, like I said, the world is still weird out there. Please continue to protect everyone around you. You know, be mindful, be respectful of everyone around you. Don't do something incredibly reckless that makes you come as very inconsiderate, and, you know, don't do anything that makes you come off as a dick. You know, be kind, be respectful, be courteous, and, you know, I love you guys to death. You guys continue to be awesome. Please have a wonderful rest of your week. You know, if you're currently on a college campus, please continue to be safe. Continue to do what needs to be done. You know, respect your authorities. You know, don't give your CAs and RAs a hard time. You know, we're working overtime trying to figure stuff out too. We're not perfect. We're still figuring stuff out. And yeah, that's what I have to say. I love you guys to death. Please continue to be safe. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. But I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.